Well, Eric, it's been a while since we've done a podcast, but we might as well jump right back into it with a very special guest who's probably light years smarter than we are combined.
She's a supercomputer. I mean, really. I mean, she's a walking supercomputer and an expert and terrifying. I mean, same at Maggie. It's like I don't even sleep at night. The shit she knows that she's told me, and some of the missing pieces that, of the puzzle that she's helped me connect. There's some bad shit going on in the world, and you know, thought we'd have Maggie come on and give us a talk. And I'd see you got a nice Bears hat on. Maggie's from Chicago area, so.
Are you a Bears fan, Maggie?
I sure, yeah.
Yeah, see, take that, Nyland. You're outnumbered.
I used
Always.
I used to be a St. Louis Rams fan, but they don't exist anymore. So
Yeah, because you went to school in Southern Illinois. Is Maggie Amato, is that how you say your last name?
yes,
Yeah, and you went to school at Southern Illinois, so yeah, you're closer to St. Louis than you are to Chicago. That's quite the haul to Chicago from there.
it is. It's 5-hour drive.
Well, you might as well embrace the Bears now because we're number one seed.
But and just to put that out there, somebody, Maggie's husband's cooler than hell, her kids are cooler than hell. Somebody might have taught her 4-year-old daughter how to say bullshit. I wouldn't know who that would be, but she likes to say bullshit.
She loves to say it. She loves to say that's bullshit with emphasis. A lot of emoting.
Nice.
She is the real deal.
She's a little spicy margarita, that's for sure.
Yep. Well, so Maggie, why don't we talk a little bit about your background to establish some foundation? Now, you worked in you're a cybersecurity expert. That's your background and data,
Correct.
right?
Correct. Yep. I can go over my origin story if you want me to.
Yeah, let's hear a quick origin story. Let's hear that.
Sure. So that's what the techies call it, an origin story. So I was hatched at the MITRE Corporation near Scott Air Force Base in Illinois. And I took on my first job, moved to Norfolk Naval Base, was system security architect for the DoD, and then joined the intelligence community. Worked for Secretary Gates for a while. I wrote cyber policy for the DoD. I was working under the Biden administration and the Obama administration, and I was able to basically be tasked by the intelligence community and the administration during ACA time to up-level the resiliency of the healthcare sector to the same resiliency of finance and energy, and to do a lot of internal cleanup because, as you guys know, HHS is one big pre-Civil War United States agency, really strong states, really weak federal government at the time with CDC, FDA, NIH, et cetera. So worked to bring in a lot of the intelligence community technologies such as Palantir, et cetera, into the healthcare space. Have been working with AI and ML for almost 20 years now. It was all ML and data science before. And then I was asked to basically go work for some healthcare companies and build out their cloud security programs. Worked for Dell, basically was their cyber strategist for a few years. Salesforce asked me to come over because they were launching their AI products. And so I was with Salesforce and most recently left with the title of Vice President of Product Security at Salesforce. So all of AI and our products are in my scope. I am a whistleblower in the 2017 administration. So I do come with what it goes through to speak the truth in government and in corporate America and influence from that kind of leadership level. And so I've gone through some things and I feel like I am seeing all of these dots come together. And when I talk to Eric about what I see, and I see the future, even 3 years from now, we don't have water, we don't have food, because we are in a GPU arms race. And it's very similar to what I think of the dot-com bubble burst, right? There was this big push and hypothetical, we're going to get here, we're going to spend all this money. And then in reality, you have a burst and you just have Google, right? You don't have all the things that we were promised to have. And with I see it now. I mean, it's data center, data center, data center, data center. It's everyone wants to use it because it's easy. People are going to lack critical thinking, ethics, and AI. I was part of the ethics council at Salesforce, working with the White House on ethics and how do we use AI ethically, like all of these things. And so, whenever you have people who use AI and think it's just like Google, they don't realize that all of their data is retained. If they're going to use the path of least resistance and the cheapest processing, it's going to be a direct deep sea connection to China, right? So China has all your data. Guess who's not building data centers in China? China. Um, so all of those data centers are going to be in North America because we have the resources. We have the water, we have the land, we have the space, and we don't have a mass population like the rest of the world. So
So all of these, farms and ranches in Montana that are suddenly, encumbered by non-disclosure agreements. They can't even talk about who the non-disclosure agreement is with, and it's so rock solid. Proximity to water and things like that seem to be a pattern. We can probably connect a few dots what that plan is.
correct.
So as we've got, sorry, I don't know what my phone's yelling at me for, if you heard that, but if so I guess back to Salesforce. Salesforce is a name that I think a lot of people hear. Nobody knows what it is. Every time I turn around and there's some software platform, who owns that? Oh, it's Salesforce. I mean, what is Salesforce?
It's a CRM. It's a customer relationship management solution, where it has really, really amazing products like Service Cloud. I would speak very highly of Service Cloud. They powered and backed our VA suicide hotline. They have, a lot of reach when it comes to like deployment for field service. How do we get nurses, doctors, things like that? Linemen out in the field for emergency response, fire departments. But overall, it's a customer relationship management company to increase your sales and revenue growth.
Now Salesforce has entered into government contracting for whatever purpose that might be with 3-letter agencies and whatnot.
Yes. Salesforce has had their GovCloud offering since 2012. So they've been partnering heavily with the government since 2012.
So when you add some of the other companies that are out there, the Palantirs, things like that, crunching data and stuff, that's everything somebody in a government contract accumulates as far as data, Palantir might be crunching it and using it for God knows what beyond rounding up American citizens.
Boeing, Lockheed, you name them. Yep.
So, for people like Bill, because Bill, cloud, just so Bill knows, and a couple listeners, if my mom ever listens to the podcast, because Bill and our moms never listen to it because they don't
even know what they are. I don't think my mom.
Okay. So I will tell you that when I started at MITRE, we were working on a way for government, right, intelligence sector to be able to use the cloud. It was called the cloud, like the Google, all these things before it was just, cloud, Google, etc. The Facebook. Anyway, maybe that resonates with some of the generation that will listen, but
absolutely.
I was really trying to understand it in my mind because they would have all of these whiteboards and it was like clouds, here's a cloud, here's a cloud, here's a cloud. But it really came down to a cloud is just somebody else's data center. So it's a data center that's owned not by me, but by Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Oracle, Salesforce, etc. And Salesforce has their own data centers. They also use, Google. They also use, other Amazon. They use other data centers. Same as Oracle. Everybody in tech uses everybody's data centers, right? So you're sharing data centers with maybe people who you don't play well with. And so that's always a consideration too, is intellectual property. How do you make sure that data is segregated? Data is, we have data retention laws, we have European Union. In America, we don't have these privacy laws. We have HIPAA.
For healthcare, and that's it, really.
And that's it. And that's basically in question too, right? So we don't have the privacy laws that we need in this country for cyber regulation. Like cyber regulation hasn't been updated in how many years? So probably since when I was in government last. And that's where we have AI, GPU arms race. Like I said before, GPUs are, if you think about your laptop, you have, memory, CPUs, things like that. But whenever you're building these data centers, and if you think about every single time I use a AI solution to ask a question, it takes up a bottle of water to generate the response, right? And so that is taking up our energy and sustainability. And if you have everybody in the world just asking questions and AI, right? It's like watching the water go out of the fish bowl. Because you've left it on while you're brushing your teeth. And that was like a Sesame Street thing for me, right? Don't waste water.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the fish won't live. And so whenever you think about that, it's like the GPU arms race. And I've talked to Nylan about it too. It's like we don't consider all of the ramifications to our ecosystems because we are looking at the dollars. And so I could use an analogy of, whenever we were in a nuclear arms race, right? This is a GPU arms race. In that arms race that we did previously, we weren't necessarily thinking about environmental protection, right? What's happening whenever we, build these things and set them off underwater. And so all of these ramifications are hindsight is 2020. And we need to go into this understanding that, hey, I'm in an arms race. I'm going to buy up all the land. I'm going to put all this money into my energy companies. I'm going to make everybody sign NDAs so nobody can talk about it because I think I'm going to make the money. So I'm going to clear the trees. I'm going to start doing all this stuff. I'm going to take off the topsoil. I'm going to prep it all. And then if we don't have the money, the resources are already gone, even if we haven't broken ground yet.
Or in the case of, say, Montana, we're going to cut this deal, clear the trees, permanently raise people's energy rates to fuel this beast. Even if it drops dead, we run out of money, that permanent rate increase is still going to fall on working families' heads to pay for to make billionaires rich. And if they gamble, they're insulated. We just end up eating the cost.
Correct.
So with AI, now the basic premise, a lot of people, celebrating AI and, but you see authors upset because their work's being stolen, artists being upset their work's being stolen. Every time I ask a question, I'm feeding my information and giving a gift to the AI company, right?
Oh, yes.
Training it. So, but AI does not, it has to have data input to function right now. So when you're training the AI, teaching it what to do, it's taking in information. How do you guarantee that it's taking in accurate or factual information to be trained with?
Well, none of us are unbiased, right?
And neither is AI, right?
Neither is AI, and that's where you get into ethics. So if you're training brains, right? You're training machines to understand how people think so that it can take over workflow processes. So I wrote an article, to 2023 about biases. So if you think about it, lending, right? It wasn't that long ago where I, as a female, couldn't buy my own house. You know what I mean? Like there are issues around affordable housing and how are we going to buy this if we're not, a white man? And so how do we make sure that those biases aren't coming out in AI if we're going to have banks use AI for lending processes? It's how people think. And so as developers, we're humans, we're still coding this, right? We're creating the brain for you as the customer and the consumer to input, this information into. And so none of us are unbiased. And so there needs to be a constant bias check and toxicity check. I mean, there has to be, there's guardrails. That's what we call it in AI, is guardrails have to be in place. And this is how you prevent, right, insecure or the most risk from happening. And so in my mind, we're sending all of this bias data into a brain. Eric, your responses from AI are going to sound like Eric Nyland responses. My responses are going to sound like Maggie Amato responses. What is the facts? What is the truth? Right? Like, how do we, because I've trained it based off how I speak and how you speak, where are the facts coming out? And so you have to give it more and more prompts to actually get to the facts and the data instead of what you and I want to hear.
So I was just reading about this concept of data poisoning. So we're all familiar with cyber attacks, and I think we are, and malware, and holding people hostage. Well, now we have this phenomenon of data poisoning. So theoretically, we could have a hostile government hack and train AI in a nefarious way, couldn't we?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you have agents. So like there's agents that I've seen who can social engineer other agents, right? So you're basically having autonomous agents who don't have any human in the loop, like any humans backing it. They can social engineer each other and get information. So you have a new so you think about like cyber warfare, and like this is where I feel like this may be over. I don't want to go into too deep here, but we've been fielding cyber warfare for decades now. Like it's boots on the ground, definitely still happening. But when you have China publicly posting, I have a 5-year plan to take down America's critical infrastructure, and they update it and it's public every 5 years. It's cyber warfare, right? They're going after our infrastructure. They want our land. They want our resources. And so we can't be lost in what we put in. So like whatever you put in, there's no privacy protections. They can take whatever data you've submitted into GPT, into Gemini, into whatever you want to use, Claude, Anthropic, and that's their data now, right? So they are retaining your data and they are getting information on you. Now they're going to be able to sell you more things, right? So it's another data tracking. And it's not always going to be unbiased because those biases are built anyway.
So like the model of, say, Facebook, where we are giving away our data for free, our habits. Facebook is selling that data to marketers. That the basic model. That's why it's air quote free. So now that we're in the era of data centers and AI, that seems like we have more weak points in protecting our. We're talking human behavior is what would be the commodity of value. Social engineering, manipulating, Americans from within, that would be the cyber warfare, would be social engineering and basically turning us against each other or things like that, misinformation.
Cold War never ended. Yep.
And now that we are in an era where we're actually starting to shoot each other over disagreements and things like that, we are fighting, say, China's war for them.
Yep, we are. We're doing our nation state actors wars for them. We are self-destructing because we see dollar signs, and they know that we see dollar signs. And so if you think about everything we're putting in, I don't know, people can put in their deepest, darkest secrets, their healthcare issues. Like there's no HIPAA protections in there. So if you have a data breach from any one of these companies, right? All of that's out. It's in the dark web. It's public. I can create a whole new persona of you, right? And I can get your healthcare data. But it's the proliferation of this would be pretty catastrophic.
How hard is it for somebody like you with your training, or Invasive, to get on the dark web and get all my information? How difficult is that? How much time would it take?
Not hard at all.
Minutes?
Yeah, 15 minutes.
And I'm giving it away free every time I go to the grocery store and enter my
Yes.
phone number. I want 5 cents off
Yes.
at the gas station. I'm giving away.
McDonald's, your dollar, your McDonald's 1 penny coffee. Yeah, every time. What gas you go to? I mean, and they're over in China, they already have this kind of tracking done, right? All of Shanghai citizens are tracked. They know every single movement of everybody. They know what buildings are operated. They know when people, go to the bathroom. And so whenever we have this level of data, basically self-feeding our own data to anybody in government, anybody in technology, we are giving away our privacy. We're giving away our rights because I don't think people are aware of what is the outcome, right? I don't think people are aware that they don't have these protections. It's not like you're just Googling a question. You're, putting in, here are all my symptoms. Oh, I have cancer. Oh, I have this or whatever. And it's like, if that is breached or if that is stolen or if that is misused by any of these corporations, and if I'm China, I'm taking all of that and I'm storing it against every single one of you, especially if you have money, especially if you are of influence, and I'm going to use it against you. So it's just, I think that there's a lack of education, and I don't mean that in like a everyone's an idiot kind of way. I just think that there's so much misinformation about the benefits of AI and the future of AI that people aren't thinking about the consequences of it. And that's where we get into a hindsight's 2020.
It seems to me with this, I mean, we've got the Trump administration and politicians like Ted Cruz and hell, I mean, I have pictures of Ryan Zinke meeting with data center CEOs and their lobbyists,
Yep.
that he brags about and posts on social media. There is no checks, and they're talking about prohibiting states from any AI regulation. And it seems to me that, not only just, we've talked about disallowing states from regulating and protecting its citizens. I mean, that disarms not only states, but individual citizens from being able to have our own autonomy, our own, as the Catholic Church has been warning, basically our own souls, are being stolen. With the massive build out of these data centers, it's taken off. It doesn't seem, does the insatiable need for energy, water, data, does it have a limit?
No, there's no limit. And this is why, Eric and I discussed this, but I mean, we have unlimited cold already in our atmosphere. So we need to just go up and continue to build outside of the earth because there is a limit to our resources and there's unlimited greed coming from what I would say the lack of difference between the government and the tech sector at this moment.
Tech sector is basically, when you look, you've got, these big tech billionaires have started super PACs where they own governors, and you look at some of their individual wealth alone, they have more wealth than some nations as just individual humans. And then you've got these corporations like BlackRock or Blackstone, no, BlackRock, well, either or, biggest data center pushers and AI pushers on the globe. They're worth trillions. They have more wealth than nations without regulation, without constituencies, and without conscience, just driven by pure greed. Yes. And now that we've got BlackRock driving mergers with utilities, particularly affecting Montana, it seems like there's tremendous risk for human beings and all living organisms when we've allowed non-human creatures to set public policy.
Yes, you're exactly right. And that's what's going to continue to happen. I mean, look at Doge, right? That was supposed to be the end all be all. We're going to efficiently drain the swamp this time or something. And what do you know? We totally fucked that all up and it doesn't exist anymore. So, and this was AI, right? They came in with their AI folks and tried to AI everybody out. and you cannot AI out the park rangers. You cannot do these basic things where it looks like we're spending money for frivolous things, but in reality, those things aren't frivolous. But AI doesn't know the difference. So you're having AI make these decisions and impacting, we've already seen the impact on human lives in America.
Well, there was a study last week that came out from MIT that AI right now can eliminate 11.7% of the workforce. And I think, as the Pope warned, about, AI could be used to augment humans and in a helpful way, as long as it's measured and humans are monitoring it. But, not in addition to what it's doing to, us right now. We're eliminating jobs, and that's what the Pope was talking about, is how do those people feed their families when their jobs are eliminated and replaced by machines that don't add actual equal value, but now we're harming the environment. We're harming people.
Reducing more waste. We're taking away jobs, taking away opportunities. And so, yeah, I think Elon came out a year ago and said, everybody's going to have a home robot. It's going to be $20,000, which if you're a tech worker, that's actually pretty doable, right? Like, hey, I have a home robot that can come and clean my house and do my dishes. I don't have to worry about reliability of a cleaning service. Cool, right? So like those are the ways that there will be job replacement, right? Call centers. There's a bunch of call centers, right? Where those are human jobs, but they're going to get rid of those with voice AI. Like there's so many things in those areas, but like trades, there's no way that AI can replace a trade. There's no way.
Not totally. I had a friend that was rewiring a boat, and he was terrified because all the schematics, regulations, everything that would otherwise need an electrician were provided to him. All he's doing is the physical connections. So it's going to diminish the trades. I mean, when those things
diminish the trades unless you have people like me who are like, gotta pay the man. I'm not fucking around with electric wires.
Well, I mean,
electricity, no, not my.
Well, and engineers calculating things. I mean, if you're a civil engineer, I mean, we're not far off, unless we're already there, where AI can answer engineering questions.
Oh, it can answer engineering questions, but are those answers right?
Well, that's true. It's true about everything.
Yeah. So there's no there's like a transition phase, right? Of like, we got to start with AI. People are going to use the shit out of it. And then people are going to realize, oh, well, that didn't answer the right question. I have to ask more questions to get the right answer. And then whenever there's, I don't know, it's like, yeah, maybe civil engineering or, developers, right? A bunch of developers we have tech workers at a job. We have like 100,000 tech workers at a job because AI is taking over for them, right? So it's happening all over the place. But at the same time, whenever you see AI take over for the human, then there's availability issues, performance issues, security issues. Like there's going to be this roundabout, I feel like, where we have this huge bell curve of like everybody's using it. Everybody's got to, keep on going with this GPU arms race. And then if we don't do the ethics stuff, people are going to be like, well, garbage in is garbage out.
The irony of it all, too, is when we're talking about job replacement, you're losing jobs with AI. When we bring up AI, I know Eric's gone back and forth with some people from the union. They're talking about this is bringing jobs, and we're trying to eliminate jobs or stop the jobs from coming in by saying, hey, wait a minute, this data center is not what it's all cracked up to be. So it's kind of funny that the people are pushing back on behalf of jobs for a product that in the long run eliminates tons of jobs.
And yeah, and the thing is, like, there's a way to do it so that there's collaboration, right? So my philosophy is machines serve humans, and once we have a different philosophy, like fundamentally, then I think that's bullshit. Like machines serve humans, and that's why we have the internet, that's why we have a phone. There's the evolution, I think, of AI needs to be something that is here, right? Like I need to be able to not have to get onto a laptop and ask 500 questions to get the right answer and double check and double check and double check. So I think that because I've been in the AI space for so long, I know, the odds of having hallucinations, and, generative is way better than predictive. So you don't ever ask to predict anything. You ask to pull from historical data. So all the guardrails that are in place, but it's like those are the things that I feel like the population doesn't understand. And so they're going to be walking around with a lot more mis and disinformation, especially when you have people using China DeepSeek, right? China's owns that data center. They're going to be feeding you information that they want you to know. It's same thing with the news media. Like everything that we're doing is going to be fed by the data centers and the people who own those data centers and who own those logic of those agents and those LLMs. So that is basically who owns information and knowledge.
So, this concept too, talking about when things are taken over. I mean, just first movie I ever watched on VHS. My parents rented a VCR. We rented a movie because I was a little space nerd. They rented, I'm 5 years old in 1980, and we rented 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
And when Hal locked Dave out of the spaceship, so my understanding is, we're talking about this thing called AGI on the horizon, artificial general intelligence, which is when the machines are processing logic and better than the human brain, but without a soul. I see these crazies. Elon Musk will get on his ketamine and swing chainsaws. There's the other guy that was eating mushrooms, talking to God, and all this sort of stuff a little bit ago. And these are all tech CEOs. This is their vision. This is what they're implementing. These guys are saying some of them are saying we're single-digit years away from AGI to where we can get kicked out of the spaceship.
We can get kicked out of the spaceship.
And that's, so I mean, this idea where Donald Trump, Montana, there's some Democrats who are supporting this in Montana. Republican Democrats, our governor.
No.
There's a couple. Well, that's where they'll justify it and say, well, it's the jobs. Well, it's short-term construction jobs. Well, yeah, after the
jobs that come into Butte and then leave Butte high and dry again. Like what jobs?
Exactly. It's short-term construction jobs, and we've got these CEOs of corporations. I mean, you look at Baby data centers. Mm-hmm. You go any place that they're looking to put in a data center, whether it's Indiana here, they have the same shtick. They say, we're going to build schools. We're going to create all these jobs. This will be 200 jobs. Now, you've been around a lot of data centers. I've driven up to a few and tried to look and go, I'm not seeing these hundreds of jobs. Are you?
Once they're built, they run by themselves. And then if something happens, they bring in maintenance. You have secure, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Watching the servers?
So we end up permanently sacrificing our land, clearing the trees, clearing the wildlife. Endangered species are being affected. And there's a really interesting thing. And, we'll have to talk about this another time. We get to the noise level that humans can't even hear that come out of data centers from the equipment, that low level hum that's constant. Nobody measures this. It's not an OSHA standard because OSHA measures on 40-hour work weeks.
Yep. This
is a constant low level hum that we already know displaces wildlife. It makes humans ill. It can kill off pollinators. And if we don't have bees, we die. If we build out too many of these things and we're killing off pollinators, but in the case of Butte, these guys want to build a data center that these things chase off wildlife. I mean, one of our economic drivers is actually hunting and outdoor recreation. We're near some prime elk habitat. The reason a lot of us live here, and yeah, we're going to do this short-term job thing and get rid of all the elk and the bees, and we'll die.
The poor dog.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, there's already cases, instances they're not broadly talked about, where even MRI machinery, if walls aren't properly built to insulate that sound, workers in a healthcare environment end up, with serious health consequences from exposure to long-term sound that they can't hear. They don't even know they're being exposed.
Yeah.
And now we're going to take that and put it on steroids in 500,000 square foot buildings. Oh, that's Boogie, by the way, with Bill.
No.
Boogie hates everybody in the world except Bill.
Oh, and my kids and wife. Yeah.
He tolerates the kids and wife. So, I mean, Boogie is not going to like the data center,
No.
but it's going to drive Boogie insane. And there's not enough known to we're building these things out so fast with no thought, no regulation. We've got government lying to us. I mean, like in the case of Butte, it's in a tax finance increment district. So all the investment in taxes stay on that district. It's going to build a bunch of schools and parks.
Mm-hmm.
It can't. So everything where Sadie goes to these other communities and makes these promises, they make the same promises and they use their little flagship, and they're always little towns with unsophisticated elected officials who don't ask questions until it's too late, which is exactly what happened here. We agreed to sell them the land without question.
Yeah.
And now we're asking questions. It's like,
hindsight's 2020.
And it's, yeah. So we have, there's other ways that, we need to have some thought, but this threat at the federal level where there can be no regulation on AI or data centers. I mean, once the horse is out of the barn, we're too late. And so as a nation, it seems there's too many places where we are reliant on data set or on local governments to ask the right questions and pump the brakes, and they're not doing it. So it's citizen activism is what it's going to take.
Yes, it is. It's citizens who are aware, who can implement your ballot initiatives to actually protect the rights that we have. Because we are, especially in Montana, like we're guaranteed these, these things in our constitution: clean air, clean land, clean water. And I don't, that's what I mean before, like I don't think that the general population of the world is educated on the ramifications of AI and where we are in the arms race of data centers and GPU, especially when, like you said, we get into robotics, and like robotics is FY27 plans across the board. So if we're going to enter that a robot takes a lot more power than a prompt online. So,
well, shit. I mean, I remember this is a few years ago when I was working for Senator Tester. It's Amazon and their local delivery warehouses. I mean, Amazon, they were wanting FAA exemptions to be able to do drone delivery of packages. So it's like, oh, well, Amazon provides delivery jobs. Well, that's ending, and now we have local governments all over the place that are giving Amazon local tax dollar incentives for warehouses. Those are already slated for elimination because of AI and robotics, right?
mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the return on investment when you've got small, rural, local governments chasing shiny objects all the time. Oh, well, this is jobs. Not for long.
Yeah, it's jobs for the, the term that they're elected for. And then what happens? Right. So it's not like we can't cut off our nose to spite our face. Right. And that's what I feel like we're doing is like, oh, we'll get these, construction jobs for 3 years, 2 years, probably not even 2 years, 18 months, because they just strap it up and blah, 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 and they're out. So cool.
Well, and the thing with data centers and those construction jobs, local small communities, you don't have enough of the skilled trades in the local market to actually build it. So they're coming in from elsewhere anyway. So that money isn't even staying in the community.
No, exactly. You're gonna build another hotel so that they can put all their people in it, and then that hotel is not gonna have anybody in it afterwards, and then that hotel closes down. Like, come on. We've seen this happen over and over and over again. So, and the other thing is like the humming, the water, I mean, nitrates in the water, not having, power to turn on your own lights at home, but you also have the backup data centers.
The backup generators, which now I've noticed that there's a big trend, and we see it in Montana, this red tape relief. We're gonna stop regulating greenhouse gas emissions. We're gonna stop tracking and permitting for things like that. But in Montana, we had bipartisan effort to cut the teeth right out of the Montana Environmental Policy Act. So I'm thinking, when you've got politicians on both sides of the aisle taking taking campaign contributions and thick steak and old sipping whiskey from data center lobbyists, and they're the ones pushing these horrible policies to destroy Montana as we know it, and proud about it, still bragging to this day. Well, if we take away regulation for somebody installing a very large backup generator, who would need very large backup? I mean, I have any idea with these data centers, how many are in the permitting process in the United States today? Like,
How many, Eric?
I believe it's around 12,000.
I believe so.
And so if we have like Montana DEQ and our citizen legislature that can be bought by the 800 lobbyists that are there, repealing regulations on that, who would have an interest in hiding development and permitting of backup generators?
Oh,
Wow.
man. I don't know. Anybody who's getting kickbacks from any of those places?
AI data centers. I mean, we have chairman of a committee in Montana that's a contractor for a data center. I mean,
Yep.
what could go wrong?
That's what I mean.
Lobbyists for data centers and are, sharing apartments with legislators. What could go wrong? I don't know.
Yeah, what about those crazy mountains? Could go wrong up
Well,
there.
let's get rid of the crazy mountains and sell those to the billionaires, because who owns the data centers?
Who are the billionaires?
Yeah. Okay, they're all in the Yellowstone Club and things like that. And they are. I mean, a plug for a book. I mean, you want a primer on where this all kind of leads with unlimited greed, unchecked greed, and greenwashing that goes along with it. Read Billionaire Wilderness.
Yeah.
It's terrifying, and it's happening right now in Montana. And we've got elected officials, major political parties, plural, going along with this agenda. And while the rest of us are just sitting over here fighting over, who uses what bathroom and shit, and we're distracted, we are being gentrified by machines and data centers.
We're basically going to be in an AI caste system. We're going to be colonized by machines.
Yep. We are well on our way.
We are already in it.
So,
And
yeah,
we need to fight. Like, the citizens of this state need to fight back. Because those backup generators, guess what? If it's disaster recovery, my backup generator is not on site.
Right. And,
taking up even more land.
And, Montana's coal resources seem to be pretty attractive. We've got, Northwestern Energy, our largest monopoly utility, filing things with our Public Service Commission, requesting those to be confidential and trade secrets, to provide more power plants for data centers, fighting tooth and nail. And we have that with the death of journalism, public is completely unaware of what's going on.
Because they're misinformed, because they're using the billionaire propaganda machine. So we do it to ourselves.
Billionaire Wilderness, it's the same thing. When you got these billionaires that are doing bad things, they want to both ease their guilt and create a distraction. So let's give a few dollars to this, so-called environmental group. Yeah, we'll save the whales. We'll save the whales. So we're good people. Buy a cowboy hat. Look, I'm a regular person. That's the shtick. Elon Musk will be walking around with a cowboy hat and cowboy boots to look like he's a Montanan, even though I don't own a cowboy hat or cowboy boots. But yeah, whatever. That's the cutesy thing. And then we start running them for office, because if you look at our congressional delegation, none of who are from Montana. I guess Zinke was technically born here. He's just lived in Santa Barbara. The guy was born in Whitefish. There's no cows in Whitefish. So all of a sudden you got all these clowns from out of state wearing cowboy hats. Look, I'm like you. Let's run some cowboys for office. So, they happen to be millionaires and billionaires. And with all the dark. And when you look at,
guess where they like to go on vacation?
They're all
crazy. Isn't that crazy?
Saudi Arabia, Dubai. Spent a lot of time there.
Yeah, and I don't know, our governor. How did our governor get elected? Oh, he sold his tech company to Oracle. Oh, okay. ... Well,
if you're like Oracle's buying everything up, I start seeing all these little news things that I think I even saw Oracle is looking to buy Salesforce.
It is.
I mean, when you've got these two whales out there, and one whale is going to eat the other. Now, this reminds me of RoboCop, where there's the corporation in charge of everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So my first movie that was very memorable for me, that was very sci-fi, was Terminator. And so that is what I think. I just think of like metal arms running after me. I don't want that to be happening ever.
Yeah, and if they make it look like Greg Giaforte and body slam reporters, Bill's screwed. He's a journalist. The robot Greg Giaforte is gonna body slam Bill because we talked about this.
Yes. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
The robot Greg Gianforte. That's a scary thought, Eric. I don't know if I'll be able to sleep.
I don't know which worse, that or Zinky. Oh.
Yeah.
Zinky's a coward, though. Greg will body slam a reporter. Zinky will just run away from a question.
Zinky just won't be in Montana. So.
Yeah. Well, that's right. None of them will have an in-person town hall or answer questions. And I just, and when I see Zinky posting on his Instagram, bragging about meeting with David Sabian, the sleazy lobbyist Mark Taylor, who's the big AI data center lobbyist in Montana that calls all the shots. I mean, he's Greg Giaforte's boss. Representative from Conrad, Lou Jones, is pretty much Greg Giaforte's boss, but Mark Taylor's, pulling the strings on both of them. So, and Mark Taylor's strings, because he's just driven by pure greed. These big tech bros, and now they're super PACs where you can't track anything. That's just a plug. I mean, the only shot we have in Montana for a future is really the Transparent Election Initiative, the Montana Plan. Jeff Mangenstein, we interviewed him a few months ago, but we got to get the PAC money and dark money the hell out of politics in Montana, and ultimately overturn Citizens United, because when you look at who's really riding the wave of Citizens United, tech bros and hedge funds, and they are controlling the country. And they're holding. There used to be big oil. Big oil still, king, but they're being overtaken by tech bros and hedge funds.
It's kind of wild to sit back and observe it. You know what I mean? Like, you have big oil freaking out. And that's why are we meeting with Saudi all the time? What's happening?
Well, some of them are freaking out.
One country had all of it.
Well, the CEO of Conoco had some vision, because when you have to build these natural gas plants and to fire data centers, and your personal agenda is, let's sell more fossil fuels to fuel data centers, you donate to academia, you buy small colleges off, and you have those colleges, and then you buy off local governments, and they become your lobbyist and sales force to tell the public how great this is for you. When you've got part-time, or almost volunteer elected officials in a lot of these communities.
Zuckerberg, Facebook, Google, I mean, it's everybody. Everybody's sitting in the White House, and I'm like, man alive, this is such a different White House from we were having innovative tech challenges where we would actually use government employees to solve problems, and it was actually really cool. And what we've been doing in the intelligence agencies forever now, and it's like, I don't know why we think Facebook is better at this. So, but it's all about the dollars. It's not about, I feel like, actually doing what's best for America, Montana. It's about billionaires making more billions.
And, with Facebook, I mean, podcasts like Bill and I, we want to get the information out to people and interview people with expertise like you. We put it on Facebook, or we put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Those corporations that are on the other side of it are going to limit our ability. They're going to, they don't want this information getting out. We'll do the best we can, all that sort of stuff. Hopefully people will share, but.
Yeah, I mean, Zuckerberg was called to Congress, right, over privacy law and basically silencing and censoring people he didn't want to speak. And we let him just scoot by.
He already looks like a robot. I'm wondering.
I know. He might be my first metal hand dude. I don't know.
I didn't have to, yeah.
It's not Elon. Elon's way too human, man. He's way too human.
the ketamine and chainsaw thing is like, that's fascinating
That is
phenomenon.
fascinating. Yes, that's what I mean. I'm like, no, no, the AI would absolutely never do that.
Peter Thiel. I mean, these guys are accelerationists to exterminate. Him. They're already talking about humans being obsolete, and they're just going to put the pedal to the metal. And their
Yeah,
agenda. I mean, these are sociopaths. These are not, they're
they
geniuses, but
are.
they are sociopaths when they're talking about eliminating humanity, taking it
Yeah,
out of the equation.
basically they have no. I think Teal could be the other one. Yeah, him and Zuck could be the two. Teal has no soul. He's
No.
just all brain.
I believe he's sitting in a cell in South Park right now, though, isn't he? If
Yeah,
you
yeah,
Yeah,
he was
follow
in.
in South Park.
That's the only way we're safe is if we lock up Peter Thiel. I mean, and he spends a lot of time in Montana. I mean, it was Paws Up Ranch. That's where all the tech bros go to
yep.
meet. Elon shows up at 2 o'clock in the morning for their meeting. I mean, these are weird.
That's what I mean. They're all on shrooms or keto or I don't even know what the things are now, but something. This drug. I don't know.
It's as your daughter would say, it's some bullshit.
Yeah, she's like, that's bullshit.
Yeah,
She'll also
so
knock you on the head. Knock, knock, Eric.
yeah, one of my favorites. So I mean, I think there is opportunity in Montana. I mean, some of us have talked about things like we need to run a ballot initiative to allow local
Yes.
citizens to make the decision to allow a data center because we're cutting our own throats. So maybe we should vote. And of course, our politicians, we already know because we see it in real time, they can be bought. And
Yes.
who has all the money? The tech bros, the data center developers. David Saby, he flies them around on a corporate jet, wines them and dines them, gives them it's cold sandwiches and water. I mean, panini sandwiches. And local elected officials come
The
back and say,
Winklevoss brothers. Why is Winklevoss and Home Depot Zinke's top two donors?
yeah, no shit. Yeah, well, yeah, let's face it.
Crypto brothers? Come on. What are
The-
we doing, Montana?
Ryan
What are
Zinke,
we
Ryan,
doing?
Ryan Zinke finally had to be shit canned as Secretary of Interior because he was so corrupt at that. So Donald Trump of all people decided he was too
Donald
corrupt. You
Trump
gotta
says
go.
you're corrupt. Like that's saying something.
Well, then he goes and he gets all these contracts and consulting contracts with Conoco, with Halliburton. He always got deals with Halliburton. He's got,
Albert.
you know, data centers, crypto, all that. I mean, do we even have somebody representing people in Montana?
No, no,
Then,
no.
and then now media, you got, for Christ's sake, 60 Minutes, who you used to be able to trust. Ran this story greenwashing everything about Ryan Zinke and making him sound like a hero. I mean, I wanted to throw something through my TV, and these so-called conservation groups who probably get the same donations, they're doing that. And not only that, the best part was they interview Ryan Zinke on what a hero he is outside of his district in eastern Montana on the banks of the Yellowstone River. He's talking about the Yellowstone River and how much he loves Montana. Other way, dude, you're hundreds of miles away from
They're
your
not
district. I
even
know
yeah.
he's afraid of Montana, but these people outside of the district calling the shots for the people in the district. Ryan Zinke, his lobbyists, his big corporate donors, and who knows if they're still paying him as a consultant. He sure acts like it.
Oh.
And the local elected officials and state legislators, they're cheap dates. They're real cheap. You don't even need that. You buy them some steak and whiskey, and they'll do anything you want.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And there's no media. Like we just saw with 60 Minutes. Let's greenwash this. I mean,
I
of course,
know.
60 Minutes is terrified. Well, they're terrified
Yeah.
of Donald Trump. They got sued and all that. So now that's probably the mea culpa. You have to make all these horrible people who don't represent anybody look like heroes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here,
Yeah.
let's put a couple people with cowboy hats and faux conservation organizations up there to sing your praises and yeehaw. Yeah.
Oh,
And I think, well, I don't know. That's a lot of information. We just got, we kind of dropped a lot about the data centers that are, publicly, we know about a handful in Montana because public
yeah.
records through the PSC filings. It's the only reason we know. I mean, the one in Butte, they had secret meetings for 9 months. That's by admission from local government.
Yes.
They don't talk about these things. And local government, in Butte in particular, which everything is secret here illegally, we're just going to have to sue them. But they're having these secret things. We don't actually have a clue how many of these data centers are planned.
No.
I was offered a consulting gig in January with an energy company, renewables, and when they told me they were having a hard time with Northwestern Energy, which Northwestern Energy doesn't like renewables, but they were having a hard time with them. They decided to partner with a data center company somewhere north of Great Falls. They couldn't talk about a lot because there was an NDA in place, and the landowner can't talk about shit. And rights of ways for power lines were going to become a problem. This renewable energy company with storage components, their customer is going to be a data center, and I'm like, that's not my gig. So they're all over the place.
They are. You can't. It's all NDA through third parties. Nobody talks about anything, but the government needs to talk about it because the government can't sign NDAs on this.
The government can't sign NDAs in Montana legally anyway, but it doesn't mean that places like Butte they get away with
about it.
They brag about it. It's insane.
It's insane. That's what I mean. Like, what do we want to do? We really want to do we really want people not to live here and people not be able to actually survive? You know what I mean?
If you look at the agenda in the last couple of years to eviscerate Montana's judiciary, let's make it partisan. Let's put our own puppets. Then the lobbyists can influence judges. I mean, there's some Republicans out there that are pushing that I think are otherwise decent people. They have no idea what they're doing. They are turning the judiciary now. It's the only one that isn't bought and paid for. Is the only check we have on this shit, and you've got the Republican Party in mass because they're getting money to do it. Where's that money? Follow the money? Probably people like David Saby, who's one of their biggest donors.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get rid of the independent judiciary who might enforce these laws and say, oh, no, you can't have an NDA. No, you have to have. I mean, that was one of the leaders of repealing the health decision that Montana DEQ has to consider carbon emissions, greenhouse gases in development. They have to consider that. I mean, that's logical. Our legislature, in a bipartisan way, overturned that. And the lobbyists driving that, go figure who else they were. You can look through their client list. So we've got both political parties basically chasing dark money or chasing money, doing the bidding. They're doing the bidding of these big tech bros, and in the process, if they can eliminate the judiciary, the only one that isn't bought and paid for, and put partisanship and lobbyists in the courtroom, we're screwed. We are absolutely screwed.
Shit.
It is bullshit. So if we had, I think, a good start, and these things cost a ton of money, and we got to figure out a way to start this, but we need a citizens ballot initiative in Montana. We need a citizens ballot initiative to allow actual people, not bought and paid for elected officials, not secret meetings, not NDAs. Yes. People need to make these decisions. Are we willing to sacrifice our health, our environment, our power rates, our culture, our humanity? We need to be able to make those, because if it's left to courthouses like places in Butte, they put jet engines under the wings and say, yes, we will accept a few pennies to ruin your lives.
Ruin your lives.
That is what's happening in mass. And they're proud of it. That's the scary thing.
Yeah, they're super proud of it because they make a ton of money off of us.
I'm sure. And, who knows what kind of kickbacks go on behind the scenes.
I mean, we're in the real life Hunger Games.
We are in the real life Hunger Games.
District 12.
I'm not going to brag or anything, Bill, but Maggie and I got to meet Star of the Hunger Games. A pretty cool kid.
Really?
No, not kid. Until, when you meet his mom and stuff, she lives in Montana. She's cool as hell. Brilliant. Michelle's awesome. And, his latest movie, what was it? Lost in L.A.? Is that series?
Love L.A.
Love L.A.
Yeah.
I sit down, I turn on Love L.A., and she mentioned it. And the first scene in Love L.A. is her son in a pretty detailed sex scene. I mean, I feel bad for Michelle. I mean, he's a great actor. I don't even know what I think about this. I met this guy, and now I'm watching him. Never had that experience.
Did you have to go behind the beaded door to get this movie, Eric?
No, it's on Netflix. It's HBO. It's HBO. Sorry, and it's good. I got to keep going. But everybody says, I just met his mom, and now I'm watching him. I've never had that before. I've met stars and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
not in proximity and know their moms.
Yep.
Yeah.
Michelle's badass. Yep.
You know what the best thing is? It wasn't AI. It could have been.
It wasn't AI.
I mean, that's coming. I mean, do you see these ads you go scrolling through Facebook? I mean,
Yeah.
if you use Bill's phone, you see a lot more of them. When you have your virtual girlfriend, I'm going, what the hell has the world come into?
It's crazy. No, I've read stories where like men are in love with their AI girlfriend and they want to marry them. And I'm like, it's a voice who tells you what you want to hear. It's very weird.
Aaron
Given
Rodgers
my-
has one of those. Everyone believes Aaron Rodgers really has one of those AI wives because no one's seen her, and he talks about her. And that movie, what was
Probably.
it? The movie Her. I didn't ever watch
Her.
it, but it
Her.
came out. That's about 15 years ago, 12, 13, 14,
That's
15
real,
years
yeah.
ago.
Given my track record, maybe. Never mind.
All right. I feel like this is good. We got a lot of content. What do you
It
guys
is. Well, Maggie, thank you so much for your insights and scaring the shit out of us. We actually need to get this out there and scare the shit out of more people. This is real. This is bearing down on us, and
Yeah.
it is not slowing down. It's not even plateauing. It's accelerating, and I think this sensational demand that AI has, especially as the stated goal of going through AGI and replacing us. This is going to accelerate until it just blows up. And we're probably looking at a tech bubble as people like you, vice president of security, get laid off because AI replaced your job, ironically.
Yeah. Huh?
I mean, what was it? There was like last month, I think there was 100,000 jobs lost in and
Yes.
software engineers. It's not like they can go just do something else.
We cannot. No.
And
Guarantee you don't want a software engineer as a plumber.
I don't want a software engineer as a cook, man. The ones that I know. So we need to keep software engineers and software doing moral and ethical things. And I think
Yes.
Bill will try to get Sister Mary Jo McDonald, who's sending me all the stuff from the Vatican, and maybe we need to get her and some expertise on some talking about that
Oh, yeah.
moral side of
Moral and
AI.
ethics. Yeah.
Yeah, is
All
our
right, cool.
All right, Maggie. Well, thanks a lot. Really
Thank you,
appreciate
guys.
it. We'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate me. All right. Talk soon.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.